DC's latest animated movie is Green Lantern Beware My Power, which has now been out for a couple weeks now on physical media, so make sure to go check it out if you haven't already. This is going to be a review for the film that starts off non-spoiler, and then later we'll get into the spoiler stuff, so I'll give you a warning if you haven't seen the movie yet. But this is an interesting movie because it's definitely not perfect or really great by any means, but I still enjoyed it. I still liked it. There's a couple parts that are boring, and we'll get into detail on that. But for the most part, I enjoyed this movie. I think it did what it needed to do with introducing the character of John Stewart, him becoming Green Lantern. I think Aldous Hodge did a great job voicing the character. Of course, he's going to be playing Hawkman in the upcoming live-action Black Adam movie, so that's really exciting. I think he did a great job in this role, and I love seeing this character of John Stewart portrayed here, of course, with a very similar origin to Hal Jordan's origin, but this time, John Stewart, he used to be in the military, and you see a bunch of flashbacks to that, and I like how throughout this film, he's dealing with the PTSD of being in war, and seeing all these dead bodies around him, and now seeing that again, but on a galactic level. It's pretty crazy for him, and his whole struggle with, like, I don't want to kill people. So I thought that was a really cool internal struggle and really made his character interesting. So I really enjoyed that part of it. Also, his team up and his grouping that we had in this film was really interesting and not something I expected when it came to a Green Lantern animated film. When we have Green Lantern, John Stewart teaming up with Green Arrow, Adam Strange, and Hawkgirl. So I thought that was definitely a really cool thing to explore in this movie, because the way Hawkgirl comes into it is because that's kind of the big plot of this film, is that we're trying to get to the bottom of this giant intergalactic war between the Thanagarians and the other alien race that I don't remember the name of. And so I love the inclusion of Hawkgirl here, and of course Green Arrow as well. The whole Justice League, I think, was really great. Green Arrow actually, of course, was set up at the end of Batman the Long Halloween Part 2. So continuing the Tomorrowverse here, that was really fun. And seeing especially that scene at the beginning of the movie in the Justice League Watchtower, seeing that actually the Justice League has already been formed in this universe. We have Green Arrow, we have Vixen, we have Martian Manhunter, and apparently Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and The Flash are all members as well, but they were just coincidentally absent from this film. But they were name dropped and at least mentioned here. Now I'm assuming that after this movie, that John Stewart Green Lantern will also be a member of the team, and possibly Hawkgirl as well. So that's something I'm really excited to see, especially going forward, since we know that we're getting an animated Justice League movie set in this universe next year with Justice League Warworld. So if you haven't seen already, I did do a video breaking down the new DC animated movies that have been announced for next year, so check that out if you haven't already. But when it comes to the villains of this movie, I thought it was really cool seeing not only, of course, Sinestro and the Yellow Lantern Corps in action here. I thought that was really a lot of fun. I think this was a great version of Sinestro, but also seeing other Green Lantern villains working alongside Sinestro, like Conjuro. We had Despero in here as well. I think that was really cool and nice little inclusions just to kind of expand the whole Green Lantern universe. Now, when it comes to my problems with this movie, is just that it was kind of boring at parts. Like, the beginning was great, and the end was fantastic as well, really redeemed itself by the end, but really the middle part, when we were kind of exploring this whole mystery, which usually I like a mystery, but this one just, like, it wasn't that compelling, and when they were exploring, like, going around looking for clues and all that stuff, it wasn't that captivating, especially this other alien race, the Ron or whatever they were called. I didn't really care about them. They weren't really that cool or anything. But we did have, of course, that actually is how it connected to Adam Strange. So I did like Adam Strange's connection here as well. He didn't really play a huge role in the movie. I mean, he did do something pretty big at the end. But yeah, it was just a little disappointing. I feel like for a Green Lantern movie, there's much more that they could do. But again, I feel like, the fact that they were introducing John Stewart as a character, introducing Hawkgirl, introducing all these different characters, and having the Justice League involved, it's understandable that it wasn't more Green Lantern focused, because, like I said, I love Sinestro and I love the villains of this movie, but you don't actually even get to see them really until the third act, which is kind of a big disappointment, because getting to see them more throughout would have been really awesome. Now, here we are going to get into spoilers a bit more. So be warned if you haven't seen the movie yet. We're going full spoilers now. And, you know, just kind of quickly to wrap up the whole villains thing, I understand the reason they didn't have Sinestro and all these characters in until the end is because, you know, that was kind of the big reveal of the mystery. But, I don't know, I just feel like it was lacking in the villain department. And then speaking of villains, it turned out that, of course, Sinestro wasn't even the actual main villain of this movie. It was actually Hal Jordan. So that was a really big, interesting twist that I wasn't at all expecting, because we saw in the trailer that Hal Jordan was in this movie. He supposedly died. I even predicted in my trailer breakdown that, like, yeah, it's probably going to be revealed that he's actually alive. So that was not at all a surprise to me that he was alive. But what did surprise me was the twist that he turned into the villain. Now, they keep it in a way of, like, it wasn't actually like Hal Jordan being a bad guy, like he was infected by the Parallax by Sinestro, but the way that Hal Jordan took control of that newfound power, this new destiny, this new purpose in life, this newfound potential, literally taking over. Literally, Sinestro was the one that defeated Hal Jordan and gave him the Parallax, and then all of a sudden Hal Jordan takes control of Sinestro and Sinestro becomes the henchman again. I thought that was really awesome, and seeing him really power up at the end, just the shot of him having, like, I don't even know how many rings it was, but it was like 10, 12, 14 Green Lantern rings on at the same time. That was just so cool to see. And, you know, now that I think about it, like, really, what is the point of having that many Green Lantern rings? Because, like, it didn't really, like, help him too much. Like, sure, it gave him, like, this crazy black cosmic power, but it's not like it let him use all of them at once or anything. So, I thought it was a really cool idea, though. Killing off Hal Jordan and making him the villain here, that's the only part that's kind of because, you know, Hal Jordan for a lot of people is Green Lantern. Like, I grew up with Hal Jordan being the main Green Lantern, so it was kind of a little frustrating and disappointing seeing him portrayed as a villain here, but it worked for the story. And again, setting up John Stewart to be the Green Lantern in this universe, I think it actually ended up working really well, and I'm not upset by it. I know a lot of fans are probably going to be like, that was disgusting, why would you do that to Hal Jordan? But I think it was cool. I think it was a nice little twist on the story, especially because I didn't see it coming. So it was an unexpected twist, and I actually really enjoyed the explanation behind it. Again, sets up John Stewart for his really big power-up moment here, where he says the Green Lantern oath, beware my power, all that stuff. And then, of course, we end with him basically restarting the Green Lantern Corps, because he's the only one left, so now he's left with all these Green Lantern rings and just sends them out into the universe. So I did think it was a really cool ending to the film, and I don't know if we're going to get a sequel or anything, but again, this is part of the Tomorrowverse, so I fully expect him to be a part of this Justice League going forward, and most likely showing up in that Justice League Warworld movie next year. So I'm really excited for this. I really love John Stewart's Green Lantern in this movie, and I'm excited to see more of him in the future. But, guys, what did you think about Green Lantern Beware My Power? Again, I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. It wasn't the greatest, but I did still enjoy it for what it was. So, anyways, guys, stay tuned for more DC news, reviews, and all that good stuff in the future. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit that subscribe button so I can keep up to date on everything goes on in the DC life.